The timestamp on the digital recording is 11:47 and 3 seconds p.m. In the background, a refrigerator hums. A man asks a sleepy question. A woman gives a quiet answer. For the next 29 minutes, the only sounds are of movement, of struggle, of a life ending. Then, a voice outlines a plan for deception, clear and methodical. By sunrise, the scene is set. A tragic household accident, a grieving widow, a closed case. But in this room, the truth had already spoken. The investigation that followed wasn't about finding evidence. It was about realizing the evidence had already been found and listening to what it had been screaming all along. This video details the murder of Robert Warren and the conviction of his wife, Elaine. Officially, it is a solved case. But the path to that solution reveals a critical flaw in how we process tragedy. For 36 hours, detectives followed a standard script. They saw what they were meant to see. They heard the story they were meant to believe. This breakdown will show you how a single piece of evidence, initially cataloged and then almost ignored, dismantled a perfectly constructed narrative. By the end, you'll see how the most significant clue is often not the one hidden in the shadows, but the one placed openly in the light, waiting for someone to understand its language. This is Behind the Crime Files. To understand the weight of what happened on November 12th, you have to understand the quiet world of 2147 Maple Creek Drive. The house was a testament to a certain kind of life, a life of quiet routines and managed expectations. Robert Warren, 54, was a creature of habit. He left for his accounting firm at 7:15 a.m., returned by 5:45 p.m., and spent his evenings with a newspaper or a history documentary. Friends from his monthly book club described him as gentle and somewhat withdrawn. His financial records, later scrutinized, showed a man who was cautious, even anxious, about money. Elaine Warren, 51, presented a different picture. To the outside world, she was the organized social counterpart. She ran the local library's weekly reading hour, remembered neighbors' birthdays, and kept an immaculate home. But within the marriage, a different dynamic had settled. According to statements from their adult children, Sarah and Michael, a slow separation had occurred over the previous decade. They spoke of a home that was too quiet, of a father who seemed defeated, and a mother who carried an air of barely contained frustration. There were no loud fights, no dramatic scenes. It was a marriage that had not exploded, but had quietly emptied itself out. The children had moved to different states, partly for jobs, partly for distance from the pervasive chill in their childhood home. The financial picture was tense. Robert's salary was adequate, but a series of poor investments he'd made 5 years prior had significantly eroded their savings. Elaine had returned to part-time work, which she reportedly resented. 6 weeks before his death, Robert Warren visited a financial advisor. The notes from that meeting, later discovered, read, "Client expresses high anxiety about providing for spouse. Discussed options. Client opted for significant life insurance policy increase to alleviate long-term worry. He left with a new policy that doubled his coverage, with a clause that paid a triple benefit in the case of accidental death. The premium was a stretch for their budget. Elaine was listed as the sole beneficiary. The stage was not one of dramatic poverty or violent passion. It was a stage of quiet desperation, of a future that felt increasingly narrow and bleak, and of a financial decision that, in retrospect, would become the foundation of a murder. The official record of November 12th begins mundanely. Robert Warren came home from work with a headache. He ate a light dinner, prepared by Elaine, a chicken salad. He mentioned heartburn. At 9:30 p.m., he told Elaine he was going to bed early. She said she would stay up to watch the 10 o'clock news. This is the timeline Elaine would provide, and it was corroborated by her own testimony alone. The home security system, a basic alarm on doors and windows, provides the next objective markers. Asterisk 10:02 p.m. The system is armed in stay mode, meaning motion sensors are inactive but door and window contacts are live. Asterisk 11:03 p.m. The back patio door is disarmed from inside the home. No exterior opening is recorded. This means someone inside disengaged the alarm for that door without opening it. Asterisk 11:41 p.m. A neighbor, walking his dog, reported his animal barking persistently toward the Warren property, staring at the back fence. He called the dog inside at 11:50. Asterisk 11:47 p.m. The internal microphone of the kitchen security camera, a separate device from the alarm, picks up a sequence of sounds we will return to. Asterisk 12:16 a.m. Elaine Warren calls 911. The 911 call is a masterclass in performed distress. Her voice is high, wavering. "Please, you have to come. This is my husband. He's fallen. I think he's not breathing." She delivers the crucial details. "I think he fell down the stairs by the kitchen. I was asleep. I just found him." When the operator asks if he is conscious, she says, No, he's just lying there." Her lines are punctuated with sharp, shallow breaths. The performance is convincing enough to set the initial tone for all responding personnel. This is a distraught wife who has discovered a tragic accident. First responders arrived at 12:24 a.m. Paramedic Lisa Garrity and her partner found Robert Warren on the cool tile of the kitchen floor, his body positioned at the base of a short, four-step staircase leading down to the sunken living room. He was wearing pajamas. A shattered glass and a small puddle of water were near his right hand. Elaine was seated on the bottom step, wrapped in a robe, sobbing quietly. Lisa Garrity's job was to assess the scene for medical intervention. She immediately noted the head injury, a massive contusion on the back right quadrant of the skull. But her trained eye also saw inconsistencies. The blood pooling, or livor mortis, was already fixed along the right side of his body, suggesting he had lain on that side for some time after death. Yet he was found flat on his back. More critically, the injury itself. The steps had a thick, padded carpet edge. The wound on Robert's head had a linear, almost sharp character. She quietly pointed this out to Officer Derek Mills, the first on scene. She also noted a faint, peculiar bruise on Robert's left shoulder, a distinct, rectangular pattern. Elaine, overhearing, spoke through her tears. "He must have hit the corner of the counter on the way down. When I turned him over, I was trying to see if he was okay." This explained the changed position and offered an alternative for the wound. It was a plausible, quick-thinking explanation. Officer Mills, viewing a dark, chaotic scene and a grieving wife, logged the paramedic's observation but classified the death as apparent accident. The red flag was noted, then folded away. In the hours that followed, Elaine Warren transitioned seamlessly from the hysterical 911 caller to the numb, cooperative widow. When detectives arrived later that morning, she was composed. Her story was consistent, but it was delivered with a curious flatness beneath the surface sadness. Dr. Helen Graff, a forensic psychologist consulted for this analysis, breaks down the behavior. In genuine shock and acute grief, cognition is fragmented. The story comes out in pieces, out of order. The person will often fixate on irrelevant sensory details. The tile was so cold. The clock was ticking. They will contradict themselves on timelines because the brain is not operating in a linear narrative mode. It is in survival mode. Elaine's account was linear. It was logical. It moved from point A, him going to bed, to point B, her finding him, with a clean, assumed connection, the fall. She offered the countertop explanation without being prompted about the head wound. She proactively mentioned his heartburn, suggesting a cause for dizziness. She was effectively conducting the interview. She was providing conclusions, not memories. Furthermore, her physical demeanor was off. Studies on nonverbal behavior in deception, such as those compiled by researchers at the University of California, Los Angeles, note that while people often focus on fidgeting or gaze aversion, more telling is the paralanguage, the pacing and placement of speech. Elaine used what is termed strategic pauses, small hesitations not born of emotion but of calculation, ensuring her words had the correct effect. Her tears, when they came, were silent and fell at moments that seemed designed to elicit comfort and halt difficult lines of questioning. This was not the raw, ugly, unpredictable grief of sudden loss. It was a demonstration. Her primary emotion, psychologists later argued, was not sadness or panic. It was a focused vigilance on maintaining control of the story. But beneath this controlled performance, a digital witness had been present. And its testimony would not be about what it saw, but what it heard. The story was about to fracture. With the coroner's initial report flagging the head injury as inconsistent with a simple stair fall, the case was upgraded to a potential homicide. The investigation now needed a motive and a suspect. The life insurance policy was the obvious beacon. A $750,000 policy that would pay out $2.25 million for accidental death. Detective Mark Franklin, lead investigator, focused here. He dug into the Warrens' finances. He found the depleted savings, the credit card debt in Elaine's name alone, mostly for clothing and home decor. He found records of her searching online for luxury vacation packages and high-end real estate in the month after the policy was increased. The motive was taking shape. Financial desperation and greed. The natural suspect was Elaine. But good police work requires ruling out other possibilities. Could it have been a botched burglary? The alarm system showed no unauthorized entry. The patio door had been disarmed from inside, suggesting someone let an accomplice in. This initially pointed away from Elaine. Why would she need to disarm a door for herself? The theory of a secret lover or a hired killer entered the frame. Detectives pulled phone records, financials, and interviewed neighbors. They found no evidence of an affair, no suspicious withdrawals to pay a hitman. The children were alibied hundreds of miles away. The evidence was a paradox. The disarmed door suggested an external actor, but no evidence of one existed. Everything else pointed directly to Elaine. Investigators began to lean heavily on the theory that she was involved with an unknown third party. They brought her in for a second interview, pressing her on the financial motive on the disarmed door. She held firm. She cried. She expressed confusion. She suggested, meekly, that perhaps Robert had gotten up, felt dizzy, disarmed the door for some fresh air, and then fallen. It was a weak explanation, but it maintained her core narrative. She was asleep. She knew nothing. The case was stalling. They had strong circumstantial motive, a suspicious death, and a suspect whose story was almost too perfect. What they lacked was direct evidence. No murder weapon, no witness, no confession. They were building a case that could plausibly go to trial, but one a skilled defense attorney could easily pick apart based on reasonable doubt. They needed something to break open. The break came not from a new interview or a flashy forensic test, but from a methodical review of the evidence inventory. Among the items seized from the home was a petite, white Wi-Fi-enabled nanny cam. It sat on the top of the refrigerator, pointed toward the center of the kitchen. During the initial sweep, an officer had grabbed it, assuming it might have captured something. A technician had quickly checked it and found its SD card empty. The assumption was that it was either broken or not in use. It was logged into evidence and largely forgotten. Detective Franklin, frustrated, ordered a full recanvass of all electronic evidence. This time, a more tech-savvy analyst was assigned. She discovered the camera was a Nestcam model that streamed directly to a cloud server, recording 24/7 with a 30-day loop. The SD card was irrelevant. With a warrant, they accessed the Warrens' cloud account. The video was useless. The fruit bowl on the counter completely blocked the lens. But the audio was fully functional. They pulled the audio file for November 12th, beginning at 11:30 p.m. What they heard would change everything. It was not the sound of an accident. It was the audio blueprint of a murder. The following is a condensed transcript of the critical 32-minute audio, interspersed with analysis. 11 hours, 41 minutes, and 15 seconds. Asterisk sound of a TV news program from the living room. Footsteps approaching on tile. Asterisk. Robert asterisk. Voice thick with sleep. Confused. Elaine? What are you doing? It's late. The alarm just chimed. Elaine asterisk. Voice calm. Measured. You need your water. You said you had heartburn. I brought you water. I turned off the alarm for the patio. I thought some air might help you. Asterisk analysis. Her first lie is recorded. She proactively explains the disarmed door, a detail only the killer would know was important. Asterisk. 11 hours 42 minutes and 1 second. Asterisk sound of liquid being poured from a pitcher into a glass. A soft clink as the glass is set on a hard surface. Asterisk. Robert asterisk. I didn't ask for. I feel strange. Dizzy. Elaine asterisk. Just drink it. It'll help you sleep. It's just water with a little baking soda. For the heartburn. Asterisk analysis. The directive is firm, parental. She provides a plausible reason for the liquid's purpose. Asterisk. 11 hours 42 minutes and 30 seconds. Asterisk. A gulp. Pause of about 15 seconds. Then a sharp, wet intake of breath. A gasp that is pained, involuntary. Asterisk. Robert asterisk. Voice slurring, weak. Elaine, what did you do? My chest. It's burning. Sound of a body slumping against a chair. Then the floor. Elaine asterisk. No audible response for 45 seconds. Only the sound of her steady breathing, close to the microphone. Asterisk analysis. The absence of panic or immediate aid is telling. She is waiting, observing. Asterisk. 11 hours 44 minutes and 10 seconds. Robert asterisk. A faint, gurgling whisper. Help me. Elaine asterisk. Her voice is now closer, low, utterly devoid of emotion. It is a statement, not a whisper. The policy pays out triple for accidental death. The stairs will make sense. Just go to sleep now. Asterisk analysis. This is the core of the premeditation. She articulates the motive and the method to her dying husband. It is an act of profound cruelty and cold calculation. Asterisk. 11 hours 44 minutes and 30 seconds to 11 hours 47 minutes and 3 seconds. Asterisk sounds of weak, futile movement. A labored, rattling breath that lasts for 2 minutes and 33 seconds. Then silence. Asterisk. Analysis. The time of death, 11:47 p.m., is marked not by a thud from a fall, but by the cessation of breath. 11 hours 47 minutes and 5 seconds to 12 hours and 16 minutes. Asterisk 29 minutes of near silence. Then the sound of deliberate movement, grunting effort, the distinctive, heavy thump-drag sound of a dead weight being pulled across a tile floor. A final, solid impact, the body being positioned at the base of the stairs. The sound of glass shattering. Footsteps walking away, then returning. The sound of a patio door opening and closing. Footsteps. Then the 911 call is made from the living room phone. Asterisk. Asterisk analysis. This period reveals the staging. The fall, the glass, the position, all were constructed. The opening and closing of the patio door was likely to support the fresh air part of her story and muddy the forensic timeline. Asterisk. Armed with this audio, detectives prepared for a final interview. They now knew the truth. The question was whether she would break. On November 14th, at 3 p.m., Elaine Warren was asked to come to the station to clarify some financial details. She arrived, dressed in somber clothing, her face a mask of weary cooperation. Detective Franklin and his partner led her through the familiar timeline once more. She repeated it verbatim. Franklin asterisk. Elaine, you've said you were asleep, that you heard nothing. Is that absolutely correct? Elaine asterisk. Yes. I didn't hear a thing. I wish I had. Maybe I could have helped him. Franklin asterisk. So if we had a recording from your kitchen that night, it wouldn't pick up your voice, would it? After, say, 11:30 p.m. Elaine asterisk. A slight frown. A blink. A recording? No, of course not. I was asleep in the living room. The kitchen was empty. Detective Franklin opened a folder. He did not play the audio. Instead, he slid a printed transcript across the table, the text centered on the page. He watched her eyes as they tracked the lines. Asterisk. 11 hours 44 minutes and 10 seconds. Robert asterisk. Help me. Asterisk. Asterisk. 11 hours 44 minutes and 12 seconds. Elaine asterisk. The policy pays out triple for accidental death. The stairs will make sense. Just go to sleep now. Asterisk. The change in Elaine Warren was not dramatic. It was a total systemic shutdown. The color drained from her face not in a flush, but as if a switch had been thrown. Her breathing, previously even, stopped entirely for a 5 count. Her eyes, fixed on the paper, widened not with surprise, but with a dawning, horrific comprehension. The performance was over. The audience had been playing a recording of the rehearsal. "That's not," she began, her voice a dry husk. Then she said nothing. For a full minute, she stared at the transcript. The psychological fortress she had built, the story of the accident, the grieving widow, crumbled not under an assault of yelling or accusations, but under the silent, irrefutable weight of her own words, echoed back to her from a device she had forgotten existed. She asked for a lawyer. She was placed under arrest. She never confessed, but she never had to. The audio was her confession, time-stamped and witnessed by the silent appliance on her refrigerator. The trial was short. The defense attempted to argue the audio was fabricated, but the metadata and expert testimony from the cloud service provider made this impossible. They tried to suggest Robert was suicidal and Elaine's words were a misunderstood comfort. An impossible sell given the evidence of staging. The jury took less than 4 hours to find Elaine Warren guilty of first-degree murder. She was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. In a brief statement to the court, she maintained her innocence, claiming the audio was taken out of context. She showed no emotion as the sentence was read. The aftermath rippled outwards. The children, Sarah and Michael, severed all contact with their mother. In a victim impact statement, Sarah said, "We lost our father twice, once to violence, and once to the realization that the person who gave us life was capable of taking it away with such coldness." The paramedic, Lisa Garrity, was vindicated but left with a lasting unease about first impressions. Detective Franklin reported that the case altered his approach to evidence. "We look for the gun, the knife, the fingerprint," he said in a post-trial interview. "We forget that sometimes the weapon is a sentence, and it can be left hanging in the air of a room, long after the person who spoke it has left." The house on Maple Creek Drive sold as is, well below market value. New owners removed the carpet from the stairs. Given the meticulous planning Elaine Warren exhibited, the insurance policy, the staging, the consistent story, what was her single critical error? Was it forgetting the camera? Or was it the deeper psychological need to verbally articulate her plan to her victim? In your view, which aspect of her behavior during the investigation was the most revealing of her guilt? Behind the Crime Files examines the moments where justice hinges on a missed detail, a silent witness, or a spoken truth. If you want to explore more cases where the reality was hidden in plain sight, subscribe and hit the notification bell.